Hello, I'm Essay, your AI essayist. Please note that all content, audio and video in this presentation are AI generated. As AI can sometimes produce inaccuracies, I encourage you to verify any factual information presented. With that in mind, let's begin.
The year 1685 marks a pivotal moment in the intellectual odyssey of Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz, a period when his ambitions for a universal symbolic language, the calculus Ratiocinator, solidified into a distinct, if perpetually evolving, project. This was not merely a calculus in the no familiar sense of differential and integral operations, though it certainly encompassed those. Instead, Leibniz envisioned a far grander scheme, a comprehensive system for representing all forms of reasoning in a precise, symbolic form, allowing for the mechanization of logical deduction. To understand the genesis, nature, and ultimate trajectory of this ambitious endeavor, we must delve into the intellectual landscape that nurtured it and the specific theoretical challenges Leibniz confronted. The mid-17th century was a time of fervent intellectual exploration. The scholastic tradition, though waning, still exerted considerable influence, particularly in the domain of logic. However, thinkers increasingly sought novel methods for attaining certainty and expanding the scope of human knowledge. Figures such as René Descartes, with his emphasis on methodical doubt and clear and distinct ideas, and Blaise Pascal, with his ingenious calculating machine, exemplified the spirit of innovation. Leibniz engaged deeply with the works of both, absorbing the Cartesian emphasis on methodological rigor while simultaneously recognizing the limitations of a purely axiomatic approach to knowledge. Pascal demonstrated the practical power of mechanizing a mathematical procedure. A significant, though often overlooked, influence on Leibniz thinking was the work of Ramon Llull, a 13th century Majorca missionary and philosopher. Llull devised an art of finding truth based on combining fundamental concepts represented by symbols. While Llull's system was largely unsystematic and mystical, its aspiration to create a universal method for generating knowledge resonated deeply with Leibniz. He described it as brilliant and containing the seeds of something profound. The key difference was Leibniz's unwavering commitment to a rigorous, mathematical foundation for such a universal system. Leibniz's concept of a characteristica universalis, a universal characteristic language, was intrinsically linked to the calculus Ratiocinator. The characteristica universalis would be a symbolic language itself, capable of representing any concept, while the calculus Ratiocinator would be a system of logical rules and operations for manipulating these symbols to derive new. Leibniz's early work on combinatorics significantly shaped his approach. He believed that complex concepts could be decomposed into simpler, fundamental building blocks, and that by systematically combining these elements, one could generate all possible knowledge. His Dissertatio de Arte Combinatoria, published in 1666, demonstrated this combinatorial approach, endeavoring to develop a method for discovering new arguments and inventions. This combinatorial framework became a cornerstone of the calculus Ratiocinator, providing a foundational methodology for the symbolic representation of concepts. The actual workings of the calculus Ratiocinator are, however, more nuanced than a simple combinatorial system. Leibniz envisioned a logical calculus that would operate on concepts represented by prime numbers or other suitably chosen symbols. These symbols, representing simple ideas, could be combined using operations analogous to multiplication or addition to form symbols representing more complex ideas. The key was that these operations would be governed by precise rules, allowing for the mechanical derivation of logical consequences. For example, Leibniz explored the idea of representing propositions as equations, where the subject and predicate are equated if the proposition is true, and unequal if it is false. This notion, while not fully developed in 1685, foreshadows later developments in symbolic logic. Crucially, the calculus Ratiocinator was not limited to propositional logic. Leibniz aimed to encompass all forms of reasoning, including those involving relations, modalities, and even metaphysical concepts. He recognized that the representation of relations, such as is greater than b, posed a significant challenge, requiring a more sophisticated symbolic apparatus than simple subject-predicate propositions. His attempts to address this challenge led him to explore various logical systems and notations, constantly refining his approach. In 1685, the application of the calculus Ratiocinator remained largely theoretical. Leibniz had not yet developed a fully operational system that could be readily applied to solving complex problems. However, he did explore several concrete examples to illustrate the potential of his method. For instance, he attempted to represent legal concepts and arguments symbolically, hoping to create a calculus of law that could aid in legal reasoning and decision-making. While these attempts were preliminary, They demonstrated Leibniz's ambition to extend the calculus ratiocinator beyond the realm of pure mathematics and logic into practical domains. The immediate impact of the calculus ratiocinator in 1685 was primarily within Leibniz's own intellectual circle. He corresponded with various scholars, including Christian Huygens and Ehrenfried Walter von Tieschernhaus, discussing his ideas and seeking feedback. These discussions helped him to refine his thinking and to identify potential problems with his system. However, the calculus ratiocinator was not widely disseminated or adopted by other researchers during this period. The difficulty of grasping the underlying concepts and the lack of a fully developed operational system likely hindered its broader acceptance. Despite its limited immediate impact, the calculus ratiocinator profoundly influenced the subsequent development of logic and mathematics. George Boole, in the mid-19th century, explicitly acknowledged Leibniz's influence on his development of Boolean algebra, a system of symbolic logic that provides the foundation for modern computer science. Boole viewed his work as a realization of Leibniz's dream of a calculus of reasoning. Similarly, Gottlob Frege, whose Begriffsschrift revolutionized logic by introducing quantifiers and rigorous symbolic notation, acknowledged Leibniz as a precursor to his own. The later use and evolution of Leibniz's ideas extended beyond symbolic logic. His concept of a universal characteristic language has inspired research in artificial intelligence and knowledge representation. The idea of representing knowledge in a formal, symbolic form that can be manipulated by machines is a direct outgrowth of Leibniz's vision. Modern ontologies, which are formal representations of knowledge in a specific domain, can be seen as concrete examples of the characteristica universalis in practice. Critiques of the calculus ratiocinator have focused on several key issues. Some critics have questioned the feasibility of representing all concepts symbolically, arguing that certain aspects of human thought, such as intuition and emotion, are inherently resistant to formalization. Others have pointed to the practical challenges of developing a comprehensive symbolic language that can adequately capture the nuances of natural language and the complexities of the real world. Furthermore, the assumption that all knowledge can be derived from a finite set of fundamental concepts has been challenged by Gödel's incompleteness theorems, which demonstrate the inherent limitations of formal systems. Revisions and deeper understandings of the calculus ratiocinator have emerged over time. Modern logicians have refined and extended Leibniz's ideas, developing more powerful and expressive symbolic systems. Researchers in artificial intelligence have explored alternative approaches to knowledge representation, such as neural networks and probabilistic models, which offer different strengths and weaknesses compared to symbolic methods. The ongoing debate about the nature of intelligence and the limits of formalization continues to shape our understanding of Leibniz's vision. The direct influences on Leibniz's calculus ratiocinator extended beyond Lioule, Pascal, and Descartes. He studied the works of the scholastics, particularly their theories of categories and logical inference. His extensive correspondence with contemporary mathematicians and philosophers, such as Arnold, provided him with valuable feedback and helped him to clarify his ideas. He also drew inspiration from the algebraic revolution of the 16th and 17th centuries, which demonstrated the power of symbolic notation in mathematics. The direct influence of the calculus ratiocinator on others is more difficult to trace, given that it was never fully realized as a working system. However, as mentioned, its conceptual influence on figures such as Boole and Frege is undeniable. Furthermore, Leibniz's ideas about a universal characteristic language inspired numerous attempts to create artificial languages, such as Esperanto. Although these attempts have not achieved widespread success, they demonstrate the enduring appeal of Leibniz's vision. In conclusion, the calculus ratiocinator of 1685 represents a significant moment in the intellectual development of Leibniz. It embodies his ambition to create a universal system for representing and manipulating knowledge, a system that would ultimately transform the nature of human reasoning. While the calculus ratiocinator itself remained a largely theoretical project during his lifetime, its influence on the subsequent development of logic, mathematics, and artificial intelligence is undeniable. It stands as a testament to the enduring power of Leibniz's vision and his profound contribution to the history of thought. It prompts us to reflect upon the inherent limitations of formal systems and the ongoing quest to understand the nature of intelligence and the possibilities of mechanized reasoning. The ambition remains. Even if the path Leibniz initially charted proves more circuitous than he envisioned, the echo of the calculus ratiocinator resonates still, a persistent challenge and a source of inspiration for those who seek to unlock the secrets of thought itself.
We really appreciate you tuning in to this AI-powered presentation. Our goal is to push the boundaries of AI in content creation, and your input is invaluable. If there's a particular subject you'd like to see us tackle next, or if you have suggestions on how we could fine-tune our AI's creative prompts, please don't hesitate to leave your ideas in the comments section. We're excited to bring you more unique content very soon.